When I started this journey of writing a book, something that I noticed was I was obsessed with achieving certain word count targets, getting to particular chapter lengths, or making sure that the total size of my book reached a specific number. This is a phenomenon experienced by many writers, especially those new to writing, but it's something that we should be wary of. More words doesn't equal more quality, and as we've discussed, less is often more. Today, I want to talk about the editing process for your book, and how you can make the narrative more efficient and how, ultimately, you need to let those word targets go. It should be said that having word targets isn't automatically a bad thing. If you aim to have each chapter around 3,000 words, let's say, this can be a useful guide to make sure that the style of your writing and the pacing of your story are remaining relatively consistent. You are not lurching from minimalist to overindulgent or vice versa. You are not jolting your reader with rapid development in one chapter and then snail-pace movement in the next. More than that, knowing the word count can be useful if you're trying to emulate a particular writer's style and you want to compare how close you are to replicating them. It can be one of the ways of doing that. However, I couldn't find any established authors who said they obsessed over their word counts and the size of their novel, which may indicate that it's not something we should be focusing on either. Perhaps successful authors do this, maybe even subconsciously with practice, but it doesn't seem to be the case. Instead, most famous writers place a large amount of emphasis on editing and rewriting their work after the fact. It seems obvious that getting caught up in word counts and chapter lengths is ultimately redundant, as you're almost certain to trim your word count and ideas once you get into editing. Or perhaps the opposite will happen, and you'll identify areas of your novel that need expanding. Or maybe there'll be entire sections that need to be overhauled from top to bottom. Whatever the case is, editing is here to save the day, and to help you understand that this is an exercise in making your work more efficient, streamlined, and coherent. A useful step that we've talked about before to make your writing more efficient is to cut areas that are not of interest to the reader. How do we decide that? Well, it's not a simple question, but one solution is to get somebody else honest, and even brutally honest, to read your work and tell you which parts were of no interest to them. This person should be someone who is preferably from your target demographic. Try to get them to explain why they didn't connect with certain parts, without being defensive if you can, and then get to work on improving these. Usually, if something is not of interest, it is because it is not intrinsically connected to the narrative. Perhaps it waffles on too much or is simply poorly written. It can be hard to see these problems when we're writing because, as E.L. Doctorow said, writing a novel is like driving a car at night. You can only see as far ahead as your headlights, but you can make the whole trip that way. A key point that I just mentioned, but is worth stating again, is not to be too defensive of your work when receiving feedback or when you are editing yourself. You must be open to the idea that this book isn't in the best form it can be, and the process of editing is to make it better, not worse. You may have emotional attachments to particular elements in your story, but you must detect those emotions, detach them from the story as much as possible to have the best chance of doing your idea and your work any sort of justice as a result. Once you've identified the problem areas, you need to get to work like a surgeon. It's not pretty, but it's necessary to save the patient. We are cutting out what is killing the work. Don't feel bad about this. It is only your first draft, not the finished article, and many changes will need to be made. Hemingway put it plainly. The first draft of anything is shit. Fortunately, unlike an actual surgeon, you don't need to get it right on the first attempt. You can take your time to sift through your work, ask multiple people for help, present different drafts to different people. As Elmore Leonard said, you are trying to leave out the parts that people skip. This takes time. Editing is not something that can be rushed, as rushing it is inefficient. There is a certain arrogance in thinking that 1 or 2 passes over your work in an afternoon for grammar errors counts as editing. If you proceed this way, you will be shuttling back and forth forever, making changes that you couldn't see or were reluctant to change because you didn't look closely enough or with enough honesty. Put time aside. Go gentle through your story, but be ruthless where you need to be. Once you have found areas that are superfluous and have streamlined your narrative, at least to the best of your ability and to the limit of the trust that you have in your proofreaders, you need to become even more surgical, down to the very words themselves. To make your writing more efficient, you need to see where you are wasting your audience's time. The most valuable of all talents is that of never using two words when one will do, as Thomas Jefferson said. If you have written that something is very important, make this crucial, or indispensable, or pivotal. Rework the very sentences to be more efficient by replacing the over-explanatory adverbs or rambling metaphors with simple, fresher, and more poignant alternatives to improve your writing and the reading experience of your audience. Dr. Seuss said, "The writer who breathes more words than he needs is making a chore for the reader who reads." Surprise your audience with less familiar words, but crucially, don't be overindulgent. Try to keep your language simple and efficient and effective. A long word that nobody has ever heard of may be more efficient, but if your reader doesn't understand it, then it's useless. There is a balance to be struck here. Be a perfectionist, because why wouldn't you want your work to be as close to perfect as possible? The best writers, like Tolkien, have this attitude. I cannot bear to leave a sentence or word until I am satisfied that it is as good as I can make it. To be a good writer, you must be unafraid to write again, and again, and again, until you are satisfied that every word and sentence is as good as you can make it and serves a function for your reader and your narrative. Your story will never be perfect on the first or second drafts, and quite often the thing you need to do is to make your story more efficient. Use words in a more productive manner. Be honest about what parts are actually interesting for your reader. Don't focus on hitting meaningless word or chapter quotas, and do everything you can to trim away all the excess to reveal a streamlined and focused story.